Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this for more than 3 years now with my fiance Netta. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So I'm about to go into the stuff we were shipping out on Saturday. So today is 4th of July. I'm actually recording slightly past midnight, but that's besides the point, and then posting this tomorrow. Because the post office will be open real quick. I can ship all this stuff out on Monday if I want, but then some people on Thursday are waiting for stuff. A lot of people today are gonna be waiting for stuff. I just want to get it done. Also, if I would not ship out stuff today, then Monday would be a disaster because it would just be a lot of packages. It takes a long time. Every 10 extra items have to ship out. It gets exponentially longer to pull the items, to package them, to get them into the car, to the post office. All right, first thing right here is gonna be Iron Wind Metals Barbarian Fans. These are really weird because I got these, so these are metal ants figures, and then they always have some kind of weapon on the back. I have no idea why. I remember I got a bunch of these before I got the pack, the sealed one, and I was having such a hard time figuring out what they were, so I labeled them as metal ant RPG figures, and eventually I got the sealed one. And I'm like, these are called fans. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then I figured out the official name, fixed up my loose orders or my loose packages, the loose miniatures from the old listings, and then this one sold for $12.96. It's kind of weird. I haven't seen big ants, and they all have different weapons on the back. So those ones are considered barbarian ones. So I'm not sure if they go for a game, but $12.96 plus shipping. Everything's gonna be plus shipping. All right, moving along. We have this 100 pieces for a board game. It's called Wonderland's War. I've never played it. I can picture the cover. I think it's gonna be a territory control game under the Alice in Wonderland theme. The big game is pretty expensive. It was a Kickstarter game. I think it's I think I already said that. It's territory control. Anytime I get the bits and pieces, I haven't played the game, so I don't know why I sell the bits and pieces pretty well. So there's a lot of 100, the game comes with a lot of pieces. It's a pretty heavy one. This sold for $18 for just tokens. It looks like different player tokens. They have different numbers. There's weapons and stuff like that. They're all cardboard ones. They're good quality though. All right, moving along, we have Star Wars Imperial Assault. These are going to be tokens for it. So Star Wars Imperial Assault is going to be the Star Wars version of, there was a fantasy game called Descent Journeys in the Dark, where there is going to be a bunch of players playing heroes. There's going to be someone playing an overlord. Think of it as kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons type of thing. You play a campaign over the course of 10 or 12 games. This is in the Star Wars universe. Also pretty popular. I don't think this sells as much as the fantasy version, but people do like it. It plays very similar. You're gonna have a bunch of people playing the rebels, and then you're gonna have someone playing the emperor. I forget what the board game title is. But these bits and pieces sold for $11.99. They're gonna be energy tokens, scenario objective tokens, player tokens, damage tokens, resources, stuff like that. So people just usually want extra of this stuff, or if they lose some of it, they just want to replace it. Or sometimes you want to have enough energy tokens, because sometimes games come with not enough parts to actually comfortably play, is how I consider it. So people want to get extras. $11.99. All right, moving along, we have this board only. I don't really want to open it up because I don't want to potentially damage the hinges. This is in pretty good condition. I could probably do a little bit. Let me see. Can I do one side just to show you? So this is a board for a board game. This is the Africa Corpse game right here. So this is just half the map. This actually folds out to be 4 parts. I'm just not going to do the whole thing. I feel if I hold it up like this and dingle, it's just going to split on the middle. It's in good condition. This is going internationally. This sold for $15. I've sold this game before as bits and pieces. It has a ton of wargaming shit, so it's going to be one of those wargaming games with all those little tokens. But yeah, I think people like this one. This might be the one, I don't know too much, but I think this might be the one that takes a long time to play. All right, moving along, we have no box for it. It's going to be Star Wars Armada dial packs right here. So Star Wars Armada is by Fantasy Flight Games. I don't think it's around anymore. It's stuff super expensive. These are going to be just the little dials for ships. So you choose all your movements on them. You place the dial face down, and then I believe you flip them face up, and everyone gets to do their moves. It's similar to X-Wing. X-Wing is you get a couple of pilots and a couple of small ships, and you have dogfights in the air or in space with a couple of Star Wars characters. The Star Wars Armada is on a it has the big fleet, so you'll have the actual bigger ships in there, but the miniatures are smaller, if that makes sense. So you're actually, that's why it's called Armada. You're having a bunch of these ships. They are sized down in real life, smaller on the thing, and a lot of people want these different dials and stuff. So this sold for $20.99. Got a bunch of bits and pieces for Armada. I know people like to pick up all this stuff. They like to have really cool collections, or they like to have big battles. It is a fun game. All right, Next up is going to be a lot of 110. You probably can't see this well. These are by a company called Litco. They did a bunch of board game accessories. They would change cardboard board game bits and pieces also for card games and miniature games. They would make acrylic pieces. They usually had like different colors and stuff. Sometimes they had little designs on them. But eventually board game companies just kind of either offered upgrade packs that people can purchase through them, or they would just upgrade their game as like, here's the game we designed, and it would just have a higher price tag. And then I don't know where Litco stands now, but they made a bunch of stuff. It was super popular at the time. So these are 100, what are they called again? Premium printed mecha, like little fire hazard things. So these sold for $17.21. All right, next up is going to be 50 Plus War Games Factory. Greek hoplites. These are just shields, daggers, weapons. They're still on the sprues, so yeah, they have to like cut them off and then like file them down, and then you can put them onto the miniatures and stuff. So a bunch of different weapons. People like picking up bits and pieces. Went to a repeat buyer for $17.84. Getting a lot of repeat buyers. Here's another repeat buyer right here. I listed this recently. This is 6 Aeronautica Imperials. It's a quick reference sheet, and then this is gonna, I think this is for something for Warhammer 40k. I don't know if it's like directly Warhammer 40k. It's gonna be the Aeronautica Imperials thing, but then you have a bunch of these. When you buy the miniature kits, there's little instruction booklets right here. So yeah, these look like, this says Orc Fight-A-Bama. They said the name funny because it's orcs. Thunderbolt Fighter right here. Oh, sorry, there's the little booklet. So it's a bunch of these little booklets. These things aren't like super crazy, but I don't like to throw them away. I know someone might appreciate them, maybe for the instruction booklet. Maybe the person liked the quick reference sheet that I have here in the back with the rules. $7 for that one. Like I said, nothing too fancy. It took me like 30 seconds to list. All right, moving along. This was a pretty good sale right here. This was going to be Legend of the Five Rings. Where did I put it? Clan Wars. This is going to be a like promotional catalog. The Clan War is the Samurai Legend of the Five Rings. They're miniature games, so it's gonna have a bunch of like paint schemes, and it's a full-on like, it might even have like a painting guide in here. This ended up going for $60.74. I don't think anyone else had this up there. I like to pick up the Legend of the Five Rings stuff. They have card games, they have living card games, they have board games, RPGs, miniatures, which I forgot about at some point, even though I had some stuff. I like to pick it up because Legend of the Five Rings has a lot of good, fun lore to it. Like, anytime I've met someone in real life that likes it, I ask them why do they like Legend of the Five Rings, and they just they'll tell me the lore, and I'll tell them, hey, tell me like a cool story, and they'll go on for like an hour, no joke. It's really cool. So like, they pick it up from the cards, just from all the booklets, just from everything. So yeah, this sold for $60.74. Pretty crazy. I'm appreciative of that sale. All right, next up is going to be this hardcover book, The Battle of Kurtgen Forest. I hope I'm saying that right, by Charles Whitting right here. I haven't read this one, but got a bunch of military books a long time ago for really cheap. Pretty good condition hardcover book. This sold for $14.99. All right, next up is going to be, oh, this one's kind of cool. This is from an older free RPG day. This is a RPG one-shot adventure. It also has maps. Heist at the Museum. So you're going to do a little battle. It's kind of cool on the back here. You have this dragon and then this little like soldier with a shield blocking the fire, and they're coming out of a little book, but it looks like it's kind of like a smaller scaled type of thing, kind of like almost like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. So it looks like a really cool one. This sold for $10. Someone's probably going to have fun because it's a one-shot adventure. Like, you go through it one time. Maybe you can throw it into a campaign, but usually people, this is like, they want to have a nice little fun night with their friends. It's pretty wholesome. All right, next up is going to be this die-cast like transport helicopter right here. I don't get many helicopters or planes and stuff. I'll find a bunch of cars, but I do realize people love like the helicopters, the trains, the planes, the less common because there's more Hot Wheels, there's more Matchbox of the actual like car vehicles. But yeah, this is like a pretty good weighted one. It's, what is this? Sky Commandos SC-58 Rescue Transport, like one, super cool. I knew someone would eventually pick this up. I listed this higher because I know people, it's harder to find those type of things. $18.74 for that one. All right, moving along, we have Hordes. This is the War Machine Privateer Press. This is going to be the fantasy version of the game. This is a smaller rule book. I believe they come in like the battle boxes or the starter kits. You get a smaller rule book. This is pretty good for probably playing the game. This is the primal rules. So this is the primal rules, I think, are when they added gargantuans, like the bigger monsters. So they have to update the rules for that, how they interact with the smaller figures and how the smaller figures line of sight and stuff interact with the gargantuans. But yeah, this ended up going for $8.44. I get a bunch of like all the different rule books. People do eventually pick them up. All right, moving along. Sold this lot again. It's a lot of 5 Kaijudo demo decks. We have Water, Fire, Darkness, Nature, and Light right here. This game's a lot of fun. I played it for like 6 months to a year. This is the version by, it was Duel Masters first. This is when Wizards of the Coast changed it over to Kaijudo. I think Kaijudo only lasted a couple of years, but I played it a little bit. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like a, I don't want to say like dumber down version, but that's just the best word that's coming to my head. It's an easier version of how Magic the Gathering plays. So ideally, like a kid or a teenager would play and get into this game. All of these colors, like the light is supposed to be like white for Magic the Gathering, the plains. The nature right here is supposed to be like the forest for Magic the Gathering. Darkness Swamp. All right, I'm not going to go through them all. But yeah, I sold these 5 decks for $35.99. I had one more lot of 5, so I went and relisted them. They're going to have a lot of fun. Just even the demo decks, even with the janky cards, those are just, something about that game was just a lot of fun. I'm sad it did not take off for people. It was really, really good, I think, a launching ramp from Kaijudo to Magic the Gathering. I think they did a good job. I'm not sure like what happened. All right. Next up is me, Gears of War right here, Hive Busters. This is going to be a comic. It's actually sealed inside too, so I can't really see anything about it. It has some, maybe some digital content. I don't know if they can still redeem it at this point. I never played Gears of War. I know a lot of people like it. I look at it still, it doesn't appeal to me. I played a ton of Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, Xbox Live with all that stuff. So anytime someone was playing Gears of War, I was just like, well, I'm just going to play Halo because like I'm enjoying Halo. When I'm like really enjoying a game, I don't really switch over because I see playing all, like any kind of game you're playing, or at least for me, it's entertainment for me. And if I'm being entertained, I don't really swap into something else. All right, if that makes sense. But I know people like Gears of War. Comic book of a video game is interesting, but it did sell for $20. Next up is going to be these rule books for Winter Storm series right here. I can't actually picture what this board game's box looks like, because this is the first time I got this Winter Storm type of game. It says it's by Clash of Arms, it's the company, so we have all these different rule books. This looks like an in-depth, probably war game, strategy game right here. Here's another one. Yeah, there's like a bunch of these sheets right here. So yeah. Someone picked it up, they know what it is, they need more rulebooks, $17.99. All right, moving along, we have a lot of 2 of the police car stuff. Got a bunch from like someone that flips storage units. Right here is going to be a lot of 5 of these different color. I made them like similar themed and colored. If you can see, like I kind of made it like an aesthetic little lot right here, and they were all the police cars. And then they also bought this K9 one. Wait, gosh, I'm not sure what this one. Albuquerque, right there. Albuquerque. It's okay, guys. It's late. I can read, I swear. All right, $28.48. Really good for the cars right there. Got a bunch of them. The person who had the storage unit must have been into like cop stuff, because that was just all the theme stuff. And the person doesn't like to deal with smaller stuff, so I got a bunch of like mostly cars of various shapes and sizes. People like to collect them. All right, moving along, we have this right here, Ghoul Escorts. I really can't read today. This is a Jihad card, but it's more known for Vampire the Eternal Struggle. Got a bunch of them, and I researched them like when I was first listing them. So yeah, this one I think is just a rare. This one sold for $5.99. I also made some lots. It just has like really unique arts. I don't know if you can see it. A lot of people like art and cards, and the Jihad stuff is really... it just like pops or something. It's kind of impressive compared to like, because they made it in the 90s. All right, next up we have, I think people still make cards that people can print out, or rules. I think that's one of the games that's still going on. Sorry, I just thought that was a fun factoid. Moving along, we have these right here. These are going to be Bakus 6mm metal miniatures. I got a huge bag of these right here. These look like a bunch of little tanks. This sold to a repeat buyer for $12.50. It has little tanks and then the turrets in the back. I haven't gotten this Bakus 6mm miniatures before, but that's what like all the other packages were labeled. This one had like a different little sticker. They're still all in there. These are like clamshells that open up. Disaster after disaster. I'm gonna double check my pictures after to make sure like nothing fell through the cracks. All right, $12.50 for that. Last up is going to be these right here. These are 2mm military miniatures. These are similar to the ones I sold. 2mm? No, I think these are 6mm. I'm not too sure because they're artilleries, but there's a bunch of these. These are going to be Soviets. yeah, Modern Soviets figures right here for wargaming. These end up going to another repeat buyer. I actually remember this name. It's so rare because we get a lot of repeat buyers and we also get a lot of customers. Like if I remember a name, that usually means that they bought a bunch. All right, so that's $12.99. It's really cool to see a bunch of people come back. That means that they like what we have. They're keeping an eye out on what we're listing, and then they like the shipping. They like everything. It just feels nice, and they appreciate it as well because they keep buying stuff. All right, that's everything for eBay. I'm not sure what platform this sold. That is not within ear reach of me right now, but this is going to be the second one. We got these 2 of these for free from someone that just, it didn't fit their, didn't fit this lady's drawers, where it's supposed to go in there, and then it has little pockets right here. This is probably for jewelry. I mean, you use whatever you want it for, but I think it's intended for jewelry right here. And then it's IKEA. So there's a lot of IKEA stuff that people like. They will then be temporarily out of stock, or they just don't ever stock them up again. But then someone might need like another one of these. They'll be like, oh, well, crap, mine broke. And then they go to IKEA, and IKEA goes, sorry, we don't have them. They have to look online. So I go ahead and put out like the IKEA information, because IKEA always has like coded information that other people can be like, oh, I'm looking for whatever, you know, like the little title and numbers. This sold for, I think, $20. I think she told me 20 or 22, which is pretty good because we had 2 of those. They were awkward to store, so I just put them on like the top of a bin that I don't take down too much. And then the bin lid is now free. It's free from its jewelry case jail. All right, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to this channel. Have a good one. Oh! Ow.